How goes it, everybody? I am the world famous Fat Kid, and it's time for the Super Bowl predictions. Rock, hard place. Actually, I'm not one of those Raiders fans who gives too many shits about the 49ers. Yes, I understand the whole rivalry. I'm more against the Chiefs. So, obviously. But we're going to go over just kind of real quick how we got there. Again, I'm not going to go in depth into every game. I'm kind of just going to recap who they beat, the scores, my thoughts on the seasons, high points and low points, and then I'll make my guess is the best way to put it, my prediction. So we're going to start with, since it's in Las Vegas, an AFC stadium, we're going to start with the visitor, San Francisco 49ers, which, wow, they rattled off 5 straight wins at the Pittsburgh Steelers, at the Rams, at the New Jersey Giants, at the Cardinals, and then at the Cowboys, which was a dominating game, 42-10. Oh, but we're going to cut it right there. Then they lose 3 straight. That is when Deebo Samuel went out for a few games. They lost to the Browns in a heartbreaker. Real close, 19-17. They lost to the Vikings, which was a head scratcher, 22-17. And then they lost to the Bengals, 31-17. I'm seeing a pattern, at least in those 3 games. Then, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, they rattled off 6 straight after that 3-game losing streak. 34-3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Then they beat the Tampa Bay Bucks 27-14. Then the Seahawks 31-13 in Seattle. Then the Eagles 42-19 in Philadelphia, just dominating playoff teams. Then they beat Seattle again 28-16, a little bit closer. And then the 45-29 drubbing of the Arizona Cardinals, which the Cardinals made that a closer game than it actually was because of, garbage time. Then on Christmas Day, they lost to the Baltimore Ravens 33-19. Another pattern. Then they beat the Washington Commanders 27-10, pretty easy. And then they lost to the Rams 21-20. Backups were playing, all that fun stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I just realized, I'm gonna take half a second to double check this, because if they are held to 20 or less, they lost every single one of those games. Yeah. There you go, Chiefs. Watch my video. You just learned something. I'm sure you guys already know. Whatever. I'm done with you. So then, their quick road in the playoffs. They got the first round bye because they were the number 1 seed in the NFC. They faced the Green Bay Packers, a close game, 24-21. They struggled. Purdy could not get it going. But final drive, did what he had to do. Got him into scoring range. Of course, it was McCaffrey who scored the touchdown, but whatever. They moved on. And then against the Detroit Lions, the Lions jumped out big. It looked like the Niners were in trouble. They came back in the second half. They were rolling. They got up to a 10-point lead. Detroit scored late to make it a 3-point game, and, well, they didn't get the ball back. So, that was quick for them. There's the 49ers. All 19 games they had to play. Moving on to your AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. Ugh, it annoys me. It annoys me so bad. Anyway, week 1, they lost to the Detroit Lions, which I picked the Lions that week, and yes, I'm going to keep banging that drum, which isn't anything like the Vikings beating the 49ers. It wasn't necessarily unexpected. Lions were a much better team. I mean, they made it to the NFC Championship game. I'm just saying, there was no shame in that loss for the Chiefs. Next, they rattled off wins against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, 17-9. They beat the Chicago Bears 41-10 handily. They beat the New Jersey Jets in New Jersey 23-20, which that would have been an embarrassing loss, but they didn't. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 27-20. Yeah, there's a leg up on the Niners. Then they beat the Broncos 19-8. Kind of an ugly game right there, but they got the win, and that's all that matters. Then they beat the Los Angeles Chargers 31-17. Right? Right. Then they lose to the Denver Broncos during their 5 or 6 game win streak, but 24-9. They lost to the Broncos. Divisional games are always tougher. Still, weird. Let's see here. Then they come back and beat the Dolphins 21-14 over in Germany. Low scoring affair. Didn't expect it to be a defensive battle, in my opinion. And then they lost to the Eagles 21-17. Close game. Again, Super Bowl rematch. So they should have only been embarrassed by the Broncos' loss so far. Then they beat the Raiders in Vegas 31-17. Raiders jumped out to an early, I think it was 14-0 lead, and then just pissed it away, because that's kind of what the Raiders do. Then they lost to the Packers. I would say that's embarrassing, but this is also a playoff team. The Packers started playing much better second half of the season. Then they lost to the Bills 20-17. Close game. There was controversial calls. Again, another playoff team. Their only loss so far has been to the Broncos that did not make the playoffs. Then you got a 27-17 win in Foxborough against the Patriots. Then Christmas Day, our Super Bowl. Yeah, I know it sucks, but losing to the Raiders 20-14 at home on Christmas Day. Granted, once Antonio Pierce took over, the Raiders defense was number 1 in a couple of categories defensively. It was a divisional game. I can't really say it's the most embarrassing loss, but it's second, because the Broncos loss is still first. Then they beat the Bengals 25-17, and then their backups beat the Chargers starters in LA 13-12. Exciting game. But we move on to the playoffs, where they came in at the number 3 seed. I picked them as the number 1 before the season started, and I was wrong. So their first game at home against Miami, 26-7. Picked the Chiefs to beat them. They did handily. Really wasn't a question. Next, going on the road for the first time in Patty Mahomes' career, going to Buffalo and beating the Bills, which makes me sad because I picked the Bills and I didn't want the Chiefs to make it this far, but they did. 27-24. Then the AFC Championship game, still on the road against the Baltimore Ravens, pulling out the W 17-10 in a ugly game, but it went in their favor. So that's essentially what matters. So there you have it. We have the road to the Super Bowl from our NFC participant, San Francisco 49ers, and our AFC participant, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now here's the question. Who am I picking to win? Well, I hate the Chiefs. I want them to lose. So I'm picking the Niners. We're rewriting the history. Okay, not rewriting the history book, but San Francisco has a better quarterback, Purdy over Garoppolo. They've got Christian McCaffrey. They have Brandon Ayuk. George Kittle was in the last Super Bowl that the Chiefs and Niners played. But they hopefully have learned from that game. You go up 10 or whatever. You go up against the Chiefs. You do not go on cruise control. Because the Chiefs still have Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes. They're not going to be easy to just stamp down and go, well, we're up 2 scores, we're fine. No. Ask the Bills. The Chiefs have done it multiple times to them. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be one that I'm not necessarily too involved in. I'm going to watch it. And I hope at the end of the day, the Niners are hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Also because Brock Purdy from Iowa State, George Kittle from Tight End University, the University of Iowa. I like to see those guys succeed. But that's my prediction. I'm taking the 49ers. I could see it going either way. But that's what a Super Bowl is supposed to be. It's supposed to be close. It's supposed to be a good game. This will be the last one. And then maybe I'll do a recap of the Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll see. I got time. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Until the next one. I hope you have a great day. See you later.